President Trump is already putting money in the bank for his re-election campaign. $7.6 million is ready to use on the 2020 election. President Trump has not announced if he will seek re-election, but he did tell White House staffers they were beginning an 8-year run in the White House. Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch praised the late Justice Antonin Scalia last night, calling him a lion of the law. Joining us now is Carrie Severino, Chief Counsel and Policy Director with the Judicial Crisis Network, and Amy Howe, a reporter and founder of SCOTUS blog. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
What a night last night with the entry of Judge Gorsuch and the big announcement. He brought up Justice Scalia in his remarks. How are they similar in their jurisprudence?
Well, Judge Gorsuch has been very eloquent in explaining the same type of principles that Justice Scalia applied, which are faithfulness to the text and history and original understanding of the Constitution, and most crucially, not putting politics first, but trying to make sure you are following the law first, and that shouldn't be affected or have a thumb on the scales for one's political preferences. I hope that's how he will rule on the bench. I think he has every indication that he will. That's exactly what we need in a new Supreme Court justice.
Amy, when it comes to conservative issues, social issues, why do conservatives think he is a good pick?
He, in no small part, because he's a textualist and an originalist, as Carrie just said. He looks at the law, as he said last night. If you like all of the outcomes in your cases, you're probably not doing a very good job.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think they're taking a lot of comfort from some of his rulings on religious liberties. He ruled in favor of Hobby Lobby, the retail chain, in its challenge to the Affordable Care Act's birth control mandate. And then when the Little Sisters of the Poor had a case in his court, he was one of the judges who dissented from the decision not to rehear the case. He would have reheard the case, and based on his rulings in the Hobby Lobby case, probably would have ruled for the Little Sisters of the Poor as well.
And had there been, at that time, not a 4-4, but a 5-4, we could have seen a different outcome.
That's right.
Okay. Let's listen to this soundbite from last night. I think it goes to your point about originalism.
I respect, too, the fact that in our legal order, it is for Congress and not the courts to write new laws. It is the role of judges to apply, not alter, the work of the people's representatives.
How does this relate to abortion?
Well, this is something that Judge Gorsuch hasn't had an opportunity on the 10th Circuit to rule on. But I think the key principles here, again, are not even whether he's personally pro-life or pro-choice.
And he is pro-life.
But, okay, I assume that to be
right.
the case. But really, how is he going to rule on the court? And if with his approach, textualist approach to the Constitution, it's hard to imagine he's going to intuit this right to privacy that even many liberal legal scholars acknowledge is not there in the Constitution, that you may be pro-choice, but this is not what the Constitution says. I suspect that's how he would rule on the case. We also know he did essentially the PhD level studies at Oxford, and he was looking at euthanasia, and so he's considered some of these important end-of-life issues as well.
And he's written a book on that. We had someone on yesterday talking about that. Amy, your thoughts on end-of-life issues and abortion issues and what he will do on the court?
So here, I think this is, President Trump had promised to appoint someone who was going to be pro-life, and there's every indication that he will be. Part of his opposition to euthanasia and assisted suicide is the idea that life is sacred. As far as the court goes, he is taking the place of Justice Scalia, who was also opposed to abortion, and so the real key vote on the court will probably come from the next retirement rather than from Judge Gorsuch's.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. I could sit here all day and talk to you about this and what it means for the future of our country. Carrie Severino, Chief Counsel and Policy Director with the Judicial Crisis Network, and Amy Howe, reporter and founder of SCOTUS blog.